everyone. Very good evening to you all. I'm excited to welcome you all today. I hope you're having a pleasant day so far. I'm pleased to welcome you to another session of the Career Transition series organized by the Institute of Product Leadership. My name's Harleen, and I'll be your host for today's session. The Career Transition series is to help you gain insights from individuals who have successfully transitioned into product management or accelerated their careers into product leadership. Right? In today's session, our speaker will share her experience of making a career transition from being a business analyst into product management. Once she's done presenting her journey, we'll open up for questions. So you can keep your questions ready and post them in the chat section on Zoom. This session is also being streamed live on LinkedIn. So, LinkedIn viewers, please feel free to post your questions in the comment section, and we will share them with our speaker. Right? Okay, without further ado, let's kickstart today's session by welcoming and introducing our speaker for the evening, Ms. Niyati Bhatt. Niyati brings over 13 years of professional experience in managing web and mobile products. She currently serves as the Senior Product Manager at Blenheim Chalkit, India. So pleased to welcome you this evening, Niyati.
Hi, Harleen. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction and giving me this opportunity to address the cohort and meet new people who are aspiring to get into product management. I'm just assuming my audio is very clear.
Yeah, it's good. I can hear you quite clearly.
Okay, all right. So thanks for the introduction. Shall I continue with the
Yes, of course. The
conversation?
screen is all yours.
Okay, all right. So, hi everyone. I cannot see everybody here on the call, but I'm assuming you all can see me and hear me very well. I would be happy to share the journey that I've had and the ups and downs that I've faced, and hopefully some of that will definitely help you migrate into product management. And if you're already into product management, I'm sure some of the insights can help you refine and hone your skills and kind of, climb the ladder within the product itself. Uh, before I start the conversation, I want to focus on one aspect that has helped me a lot, which is quite a famous framework called Ikigai. It's a Japanese framework, very famous book, one of the bestsellers that's out there that focuses on how to find the purpose of your life, how to get paid for it, how to find what you love, and how to do what the world needs. So, deriving from that experience, I have kind of decided the career trajectory that I wanted to take and migrated into eventually realizing that product management is a sweet spot where I can uh, I can show my true potential, uh, to put it that way. So Ikigai is one thing that I would recommend as a read to all of you. And as we dive into the discussion, I think I can share my screen and walk you through the journey that I have taken and kind of dive deep into each aspects of it. So let me start by sharing my screen. So this conversation can be a mix of two things. One is in general your career aspiration, and then if you want to apply every principle into product management and transitioning into product management, this can help with that as well. This is the framework that I've built over the period of time that helps me decide whether I should pursue particular career or not. And this has come into existence because I've dabbled into several things over the course of time. And I've realized why you need to have strong reasoning and strong understanding before you pursue into anything. And since most of you are thinking about product management as a career option, I would like to share this framework and see if you can uh, fill in the details for yourself. And then if still the product management is the career path for you that sticks out, then pursue that. Or if you still want to have the desire to pursue that, you can venture into product. So I think the very first reason is a foundation before deciding onto any career trajectory. I think it's very essential to have your core reasoning very strong. What is your why? Why do you want to get into product? And I would in this session, I'll take in the future, I'll take a moment and ask everyone to kind of list down what your why is, but just think about it, why it is that product management. And if the dollar value is the only motivation, then I would ask you to find at least two or three more reasons to pursue this career trajectory, because it's a hard role. And if money is the only thing that's driving, it may start to drain you out. So just laying it out there as it is. Make sure your foundation is very strong and your reasoning is very strong. That drives you and that motivates you to wake up every day and go to your job and build great products. The second aspect is, even though foundation is very clear, if there is no aptitude and attitude to pursue something, then that becomes a hurdle. So make sure that everything that you need in order to train your brain to do product and have the right attitude, you have those things in place. To give an example, aptitude would be to have critical thinking, analytical thinking, problem solving skill, making sure you're driven by customer empathy. These are the skills that you need to be to excel at product management. And attitude is uh, sometimes doing with minimum information, and sometimes making sure that you put your foot down and demonstrate great stakeholder management, uh, because not everyone comes from product background and you may have to hard sell certain ideas. So do you have that right attitude to do that? Once all of this is in check, the other aspect would be how much can you get paid for your skills? What is the minimum uh, uh, salary that you can get in the market, and what is the maximum that you can earn? And we'll also touch upon the career trajectory of what product managers can get into as we progress along. And then there are certain skills on top of it that you need to build, which is divided into hard skills, soft skill, and certain personality traits. So if all of this is laid out and filled in for every individual, I think it'll give you a very comprehensive picture of where you stand and where you need to improve in order to pursue your career trajectory. Starting from the start, uh, let me just zoom out. So I started my career as an engineer, and the only reason to do that as an engineer was because I did my bachelor's in IT, and that was an accident. Everybody wants to become an engineer or a doctor, so I was no different. I did my IT, and because I was an engineer, I decided to utilize my qualification and pursue the career. I did engineering for almost 2 years, and I realized that I don't enjoy coding, so I kind of quit technology and decided to venture into corporate social responsibility, where I was driven by the fact that if there is anything that I can do to uplift human beings or to solve problems that humans face on a day-to-day basis across India, what are the things that I can do? Whether it's education, agriculture, is there something that I can help people with? So the driving force was how can I help you? And that's where I realized that I'm very driven by my desire to solve problems. So I can identify right problems. That's one of the core strengths that I would say I have. I can pinpoint exactly where the problem is, and then I can design smart solutions around it. So the foundation was wanting to solve problems, and that's why I ventured into corporate social responsibility. While doing that, I realized that servicing or projects can be too slow when it comes to solving a problem. So if you build a tech-enabled solutions, you can solve a problem much faster. And so I decided to venture into social business. I had my own startup. And the motivation here is, yes, you want to solve problems, but you want to solve them by tech-enabled solutions and not by providing service or anything else. While I was doing entrepreneurship, of course, it requires you to do whatever it takes. There is no clear job description. You are just doing everything that's thrown at you and everything that you want to do. And it can be very taxing. While doing that, I realized that there should be a methodological way to build tech solution. It cannot be very haphazard. And of course, I was too young. I was not that skilled. And so I decided to get back into IT and find a way to build, to learn the proper ways to build products, proper ways to build technical solutions that actually solve real problems. And that's where I ventured into business analyst. So when I started as a business analyst, it was a very smaller uh, what do you call it, a very a minuscule version of what I was doing as an entrepreneur. I was responsible for a very small feature. I was responsible for running a sprint. But while doing those small tasks, I got in depth of everything that I was doing, and that refined my understanding of why a certain things are built the way they are built. I was responsible for very classic, tasks that a business analyst is tasked with: market research, user research, competitor analysis, everything around requirement, and how do you conduct customer interviews, all of that. While doing business analyst, I started to perform a role of a proxy product manager, if you want to call it that. And that kind of happened accidentally. Uh, So while I was doing that, I became aware of a role of product manager when I was pursuing business analyst. And that's where I realized that if you want to solve problems, product-led growth is probably the way for me to uh, uh, excel into. And that's where I decided to migrate into product management. Now, of course, this is a decision, but things don't happen like magic. There are no magic beans. Things don't happen overnight. So the foundation is very clear at this point. I know that I want to solve problems by building tech-enabled solutions in a methodological way by demonstrating product-led growth. This is what I wanted to do. I was very clear. But now, how do you venture from this to this? How do you migrate? And that's where I decided to pursue a certification, because one of the problem in the market is that product management is not a, a part of a mainstream education. MBA is a very defined and very matured sector. It's a very matured stream of education. Engineering is a matured stream. People know what to expect from an engineer. People know what to expect, exactly what to expect from a Python developer, and from someone who has done MBA in marketing and finance. People know exactly what to expect from them. But when it comes to product management, this is still evolving. Though it's been around for more than a decade, it's still evolving, and there are no schools for it. So my hypothesis is, and it's been validated by some of the market leaders, is that you are as good a product manager as your company where you work with. So if this is the role that you learn on the job, it's very accidental and it can get risky, as in you can limit your understanding and learning. And by limiting your understanding, your learning, and your skill set, you can also limit your growth. So how to not do that? One way to do it is by getting formal education. And that's where, while I was working as a business analyst, I did ICPM program with product leadership that gave me a comprehensive understanding of what product management is and how it should be done. And once I did that, I uh, decided to venture into product management. I talked to a lot of people in the industry. I manage a team of 16 people. I'm part of hiring loops as well. Uh, when we talk about product management, as I said, it's as good as the products that you've worked on. It's very difficult to actually narrow it down and understand what exactly you need to do as product manager. And that's why I've narrowed it down to several aspects that you need to define for yourself while pursuing product management. So I'm assuming everyone would know that when it comes to product sits in between UX, tech, and business. So this is pretty clear that you need to have understanding of these three. Though may you not need to have the expert skills, you need to know the language, you need to know the limitations, you need to understand the priorities and the what are the nuances that each one of these verticals require in order to have effective communication and design a solution. Once you understand that this is what, in a way, in a nutshell, on a very high level, product management is, I would ask each one of you to kind of list down why it is, what is your motivation to venture into product management. And I'll pause for a minute here. I'll let you guys think and put it in the chat why do you want to become a product manager, and something that is besides the pay. Okay. So just I'll pause for a minute here take your time, think about it, and put it in the chat what is your reason to pursue product management. Okay, real value addition to society, organization, and self. Okay, Jitendra, great. Everybody else, there are no wrong answers here. So we can all kind of take motivation from each other as well. So please write your reason why it is that you want to pursue product management. Right. So I think a lot of you are focusing on impact, which is great because product manager is the one who sits at the central focal point and who kind of uh, is in a way decision maker when it comes to deciding on what needs to be built to get certain kind of impact. So yes, a lot of you are in a way uh, aligned with what a product manager does versus what your aspiration is, right? Then somebody has said solve problems, enhance my skills, and understand more how the product goes into idea to delivery. Yes. Uh, ownership, yes. Participate in something that has an impact on wider scale. Yes, absolutely. As a coder, you might not always feel that you know what is being built and why, but a product manager is the one who understands the wider scale and till which, like, what kind of user is going to get impacted in what way, right? It's intriguing to have an end-to-end ownership of the product and see the zero impact. Yes, yes, it's very exciting also as well, right? I feel as a product manager, we can have long-term career. That's also true. Uh, new new ideas which can be game changer for the product. Excellent, excellent. Because even coders have ideas. A lot of other people have ideas, and when you start doing product management, you realize that ideas are bombarded from all the places. And one fine day, you'll have one idea which can be a game changer. So you sit at the central seat where you are evaluating ideas, you are thinking about new ideas yourself, as well as you are the one who new ideas are shared to. So it's a great place to be and kind of decide on, what kind of ideas to pick and how to solve a particular problem. I'm working as Scrum Master. I want to deal with business and stakeholder. Okay, that is also great. I love to solve problems. That we already spoke. Right. So all great aspirations and great answers, and it's good that everyone is almost aligned with um, what product management is about. So I hope that helped bring some kind of clarity, that 30-second, 60-second exercise. Moving on, I think once these two are clear, what and why, we can focus on how product management is actually done. So what I ask everyone is to have the stronger foundation for your product management role. I know we have a strong foundation for the entire career, but specifically for product management, how do you want to do, and then how do you want to uh, practice these values so that you become excellent at product management? So 5 values that I stick with, and this is something that uh, I kind of also have built within my teams, is these 5 values that I stick to: customer first, always know your why, lead with empathy, influence without authority, and be data driven. When every feature that I build checks all 5 boxes, it's a success. So based on your team structure, based on the nature of your product, based on what kind of product manager you want to be, you can list down the core foundational things that a product manager must have, and then make sure that you're checking on all of these and you're growing in each one of these as you move in your career. That is how you enhance your skills as well. The other aspect is how. So how you build products is, because this, we are talking about technology enabled solutions. How do you design these solutions? So there are tech, AI, ML, and data. So if you go around and see types of technology driven product management roles, you also have technical product management roles. You also have AI, ML product management roles. You also have data product management roles. So if you specialize in one of these tech, you can position yourself as a product manager that excels with particular tech, and you can scale in that particular vertical as well of the product. Another skill set that every product manager must have is the project management aspect. Though we are not doing project management, we are constantly responsible for the quality of the delivery, and constantly talking to project management teams. And we are not completely in silo with what project management is doing and how that is being done. So widely, globally, most of the companies are following Agile and Scrum methodologies. So familiarizing yourself with one of these methodology. There are certain tools as well. So making sure that you have hands-on experience with these tools as well is something that is a very underrated skill, I would say. These are very simple things. And I've also heard people say that we don't care if you know Jira or not. We don't care if you know Asana or not. But trust me, if you know this, it's going to come handy. And it's not very hard to gain these skills. There are open YouTube videos you can go simply learn is one of the website. I'm sure there would be some courses here and there. There are online courses available. I'm sure something IPL must be offering. So around the project management aspect, if you want to dabble into it, make sure you have some understanding, hands-on experience, and some certification to back this up. This will increase the value of your profile, right? So this is in a way, in a nutshell, of how I see how I've migrated into product and how I design my product role and how I evaluate myself and constantly aspire to kind of move up the ladder. We are already 3 minutes up, 4 minutes up in order to deal with Q&A. So I'll pause here and I'll answer the questions that you have with respect to what I have shared, and apart from this as well, if you have any questions. So Harleen, how do you want to do this?
Okay, firstly, thank you for sharing your experience and all these insights. I'm sure everyone's getting a lot of, insights here. I can facilitate the questions in terms of, I can read them out to you, and right? So I think the first question we have in the chat is from Raja, who has said that I am a business analyst with 8 years of experience and almost little technical skill set. Is it mandatory to have a strong technical skill set to be a product manager?
Right. So Lajja, first of all, uh, when you say strong technical knowledge, I would want you to understand and define what strong would mean, because strong can mean different for different companies. It could mean that for some companies, you need to have a development experience of 5 years before you venture into product. If that is the requirement, then yes, you need that kind of experience. However, in general, for the independent product role, technology hands-on experience is not required. However, product management is done in the technical sector in by building IT products. So in order to excel and have the differentiating factor, you need to be familiar with technology. So I wouldn't say have coding experience, but I would say you need to understand the terminologies, the nuances that developers talk into. Though you will never be the part of someone who you will not be the one who will decide on what kind of architecture your product needs to have, but you need to understand the difference between modular architecture versus microservices in order to help them understand what it is that you're trying to build. And this is a very crucial skill to have, especially when you're trying to scale a product, when you're at a very ideation phase and you know that eventually in 6 months you would want to scale. So you need to be part of those conversations and decision making process, though you will not be the decision maker. So I would say familiarization is a must. However, how much in-depth knowledge you need would depend on different companies. So read the JD very carefully. That would be my advice if you're trying to apply somewhere.
Of course. Thank you for that, Niyati. Next, we have Momita, who has said, I have a PMP and worked extensively as a business analyst and product owner and is currently doing an MBA. What certification do you suggest to take a focused PM role?
Okay. So there are multiple certifications available. If you're already pursuing your MBA and you already have PMP, your profile is already as it is very strong. If you want focused product experience, there I've done my certification from IPL, so I can vouch for that, and I can tell you that has helped me. I did ICPM, but Harleen can share details of other product specific certifications and detailed courses or shorter courses that you have. That is one certification that I can recommend.
Okay, great. Thank you, Niyati. Maybe you can shed some light on what the certification at the institute that you did was. What was that like? Maybe that will help
Yeah.
Momita get an idea. Yeah.
Right. So I did ICPM, which is a 6-month program, and it's a certification program, not a degree level. And we had, I think, 5 different modules around major verticals of product. So product value proposition design, product marketing, design thinking. I don't remember all, but we had 5 major modules, and we would get into in depth of each of these with hands-on experience, where we would be tasked with a problem statement, and then you go around and build those products. You actually do that exercise. You actually go and talk to people. You produce those evidence, and then you present it to a jury where you are evaluated on how you've done. So it's hands-on experience on all 5 modules. That was the part of my certification.
Great. Thank you for that, Niyati. Sorry. Next, we have Hinduja, who has asked, "What's your typical day like as a product manager?"
Okay, so my typical day is uh, if I'm managing a single product, and right now I'm managing multiple products, so I'll divide into two, like when I'm managing a single product versus when I'm managing multiple products. So, as a single product, when I manage, I like to start my day a little early, at least an hour before our Scrum calls, so that my day is well planned. I know exactly what I'm doing, who I'm talking with, and where the product is. Just look at the roadmap, look at tickets, look at the status. Then we have our Scrum call, which is 15 minutes, but can go up to 30 minutes, leading to several discussions and several blockers that engineers might have. So facilitating those conversations, making sure that everyone's unblocked and getting into those discussions. So that takes up to 1.5 hours, sometimes 2 hours. After that, I would spend typically an hour, hour and a half doing competitor analysis, where I would look at the market trends. I would look at what competitors are doing, what is there in my backlog, or what it is that we need to refine. Are there any news about some competitors? So taking a look at that, maybe an hour, hour and a half, and then I get into documentation, because typically I like to be 2 sprints ahead of the developers. So if developers are going to take up something after 2 sprints, I start the documentation with I get into a feasibility analysis with developers to ensure that whatever I'm building is properly built or not. So almost 2 hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours goes in documentation, and several discussions. So typically it would be somewhere around 8 hours that I'll spend. I know it's not exactly 8 hours, but there are several ad hoc meetings and conversations based on where developers are stuck. And I think uh, my way of working is I keep myself always available. So I don't block my calendar for focused work unless I absolutely have to. So anybody can reach out to me whenever they want. And that's just my working style. So if that works for everyone, that's fine. Otherwise, you can block your calendar for focused hours. And that's just how the day goes by. Shall I also get into details of managing multiple products, or shall we take another question?
I think we can take another question. Maybe we can come back to that. Yeah. We
Yeah,
have
sure.
Pragya, who has asked, "How stable is a PM job in the Indian scenario?"
Uh, in the Indian scenario, I'm not sure if I understand that correctly. If if you want to elaborate a little on your question,
Yeah, we
by the time we
request.
can take another question.
Pragya has also said that they have technical skills, which includes SQL and Power BI. Will it come handy while applying for PM roles?
Absolutely, absolutely, because PMs are required to be very analytical and understand how data is utilized and informed about your roadmap. So basically, you are responsible for the roadmap, what needs to go into it, what doesn't need to go into it, and when. So in order to do that and build solid argument around what it is that you're prioritizing, you need to have understanding of how to analyze data. You should be empowered enough to not rely on your data science team. Just go type your query in, get the data. get the insight that you need in order to build and prioritize whatever it is that you're prioritizing. So it's a absolutely, I wouldn't say essential for everyone, but it's a very good skill to have. It's a very good skill to have, yes.
Of course. Thank you for that, Niyati. Next, we have Ramit who has asked, what does it take to decide that now is the right time for a new product or new feature in existing product?
Uh, right time to decide. Can you repeat that question?
I think it's just how do you decide when is the right time to introduce a new feature in a product or introduce a new product? Like when do you decide is the right time?
Right. Okay. I'll take this question in terms of trying to understanding how do you prioritize things. So if you have a backlog of 20 features, how do you decide when to pick what? And I think that there are just three major aspects to look at. One is your business goal, what your stakeholders want, people who are putting in money, what your competitor is doing. So what does the market look like? What is the landscape? And what does your user want? So once you have these three things in complete clarity, there are frameworks to decide and put a scoring on all the features that you're doing. There are methods to bring everybody on board. Planning poker is dot voting. Then there is something called pay a dollar for each feature. So there are multiple ways to decide, but these are the three main aspects to look at. So out of 20, if you have to prioritize 10 to even go and talk to stakeholders about, uh, to ask for their vote. If you need like first level of filtration, I would say look at these three, and these three will tell you which one you need to prioritize right away. For example, if COVID came and Big Basket had to come up with a completely new app called BB Daily, it was a situational product, right? It came because there was COVID and there was a need right away. So you are looking at the landscape, you are looking at the competition, you are understanding your user, what your user wants, and combining these three things. Now you've decided that you want to introduce something called BB Daily. All right. So that's a standard example for that.
Thanks, Niti. Um, we have Ramit again who has asked how to get your first PM role after long journey backed with technical experience.
Right. So, see, first of all, I would say because you have technical experience, it does not mean that you cannot get into product. It's no way a blocker. It's a big plus. So I would like to think, I would like for you to think of this as a very strong skill set that you have rather than as a blocker. Once you decide that you want to migrate into product, I would say if you do it in an existing company, by shadowing someone, that is the safest way to migrate into product. And the only reason behind it is because product management is a leadership role. It doesn't matter whether you are junior or senior, it's a leadership role. And output is expected of you irrespective of what your background is. So if you don't know how to start delivering, it can get very tough and can cause conflicts and anxiety. So to avoid all of that, if you want to migrate into this, you can do that in a safer space, which is your existing company, where you'll have a lot more support, where people will understand that you don't come from this background, and then shadow someone, learn the language of the land, and then eventually make the transition.
Of course, thank you. We have Priya and Alok who have both said that they have QA experience and are wondering how can they transform their career into product. I think,
Right. So typically, and again, this is not a hard rule, but typically QA gets into business analyst gets into product, and then you kind of eventually venture into product, which is a typical transition. So if from QA you want to migrate into product, you can, in between, you can dabble into business analyst. Business analysis helped me as an intermediary role because it gave me a lot of time to think about smaller things. So it's inch wide, kilometer deep role, while product management can be a little wider and kilometer deep. So, in order to do that, you can first migrate into business analyst role and then product management role. Essentially, for QAs, it's in a way, it's not a tough journey than other roles, I would say, like somebody who's done finance, somebody who's in marketing, and wanting to get into product. For QA, it's pretty simpler and pretty straightforward. So that would be my advice, like business analyst and then product.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to club two questions again because due to time constraints and also they seem quite similar. We have Vinay and Momita. No, wait, sorry. Vinay has asked, can you elaborate more on how did IPL help you in gaining your skills in a product management role? And Shifali has asked, how did this certification help you? So I think that's quite similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said that first of all, it gives a comprehensive 360-degree view of what product management is because because product management is not really taught, and yeah, if you're as good as the company that you work with, there's a limited chance that you'll experience and you'll have understanding of other verticals of product, for example product marketing or design thinking principles. So it gave me a comprehensive view. That's one. And second is, along with theory, we had hands-on experience of actually building products. So you would pick a problem statement you want to work on, you'll collaborate with other product managers, you'll actually go out and start building those prototypes, you'll talk to users, you'll present it to your faculty, you'll present it to an external jury. And this builds a lot of confidence in you because now you have actually done everything hands-on. Because in theory, product management is very easy to understand. It's pretty simple because these are just natural language articles. So these are just words. It's very easy to understand what product management is about, but it's very hard to do it because the detailing changes. So when you have hands-on experience on something, it actually challenges the way you are building things, you are thinking about it, and how your product thinking needs to be cultivated. And that is, I think, a very big plus that you get to have that hands-on experience.
Of course, thank you. We have Jitendra who has asked if you can throw some light on each of the following, which is AI ML product manager, data product manager, and technology product manager.
Right. So if you're asking about the difference in the day-to-days of them, I'm not sure I'm the right person because I'm neither of these three. I'm a non-tech product manager, but I can give you a little bit of understanding that I have. So AIML product manager is someone who understands the nuances of building a product that relies very heavily on principles of AIML. If you want to use Gen AI in your product and build products that centers around that, then you need someone who understands AI/ML or comes from that background. Similarly for data, someone who knows how to build data pipelines, who's familiar with ETL functions, and comes with that background. In technology, technical product manager would be someone who comes with the development background so that they participate in designing the actual solution. So if you were to think about solution architect, who kind of migrates into product management, that would be the profile for that. But how their day-to-days are designed, I think you'll have to talk to someone who is actually actively performing in those roles.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think we have Aishwarya who has asked, as a product manager, do you have revenue growth targets as a part of your KRAs?
Not really. Though it's always spoken about and it's not an unknown and it should never be an unknown. Uh, Building a product for a KPI that's called revenue is, I've heard that it's not a very viable idea and that KPI should remain with business than product. And people may beg to differ and all opinions are welcome here. But I've seen that it's very essential for your product's North Star, for you to define your product's North Star and then work towards it rather than keeping revenue as the sole target. Because you may reach certain revenue but lose some users, then those are the hard decisions that you need to make. And the way you make it is when you know what your product's North Star is. So revenue is always spoken about, and revenue is everyone's aware of, and product managers need to be very vigilant about how your product is driving revenue. However, we are not the owners of moving that metric. Sole owners of moving that metric, I would say. Partial owners, yes.
Of course. Okay, I think we can take another question. I know we have a few that we haven't answered, but we do have. I mean, if you're okay to stay on for a bit longer, I'm sure everyone will appreciate. Right? Someone has asked, could you also talk about the growth in product management? Like, what is the career
Career
trajectory?
trajectory. Right, right. Give me one moment. I'll just turn on my battery. Right. So career growth in product management is there are typical career paths, and again, this can depend on company to company, but mostly you can start as an associate, and from associate to it's a product owner role, from product associate product owner, then product owner. So associate product owner is mostly responsible for gathering requirements, documenting them, similar to business analyst, but also focusing on the sprint level execution. Product owner is typically someone who is executing the sprint and is familiar with the roadmap. Then you have product manager who is building the roadmap and is responsible to make sure that every information is trickled down and it's executed. Then you have senior product manager who is building the entire product roadmap and not just your quarterly roadmap, and is also part of discussions around product strategy and product vision. And then you have leadership roles in product, which could be from senior product manager, it could be head of product, it could be principal product manager, it could be VP of product, director of product, or CPO. Uh, uh, these roles focus more on strategic side rather than execution side. So strategy would be what is your product vision? How do you define that? What should be your pricing model? What is the business aspects of your product, which is calculating your TAM, SAM, and SOM. In terms of product strategy, what kind of solutions you want to build, what kind of tech you want to leverage in order to cater to certain market segment. So strategically is from head onwards, I would say. This is how the career trajectory looks. And from CPO, which is, I think, the highest title in the market, if I'm not wrong, from there you can also venture into becoming the CEO if your company is product led. So this is again depends on various factors in different companies, but typically this is how it would look like.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. I think we can wind up with the final question, and Sheena has brought it back to what we had said we would come back to. You mentioned managing multiple products. How is that different from focusing on a single product?
Right. So when you're managing a single product, your focus is just one user, one business goal, and one bucket. Versus when you're managing multiple products, and by multiple products, I don't mean multiple products in the same category. They could mean really different product, one in fintech, one in edtech, right? And the way you can do it is if they are small scale, because if they are very complex, it becomes practically hard to manage multiple products. So if you are managing two small scale products, then that would mean that how do you manage your context switching? How do you manage your schedule? And how are you still available for everyone on both the teams? Because team is going to be different. Product person is the centralized person. So the major challenge that a product manager needs to overcome is to manage context switching while managing multiple products and be very vigilant about how you manage your time, how you manage your calendar.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Niyati. I know we do have a few more questions, but I think we can wrap up now due to time constraints, right? So I want to thank you for joining us today and sharing your experience and, helping everyone here understand more about how they can transition into products. So thank you so much for your valuable time and for sharing your journey with us. Please accept this certificate of appreciation from the Institute. The QR
Sure.
code would actually take you to a Hall of Fame page created especially for you on our website.
Awesome. Thanks, Arlene. And it was lovely talking to everyone, and I enjoyed sharing my journey, and I enjoyed all the questions. And it's great fun to have such an enthusiastic lot who comes up with a lot of questions. And if anybody wants to connect with me, they can find me on LinkedIn, Niyati M Bhatt. That would be my URL on LinkedIn.